Phew. Hey everybody. What I was demonstrating there is something that I had felt out with the, getting away from the static resistance using the bands. As you go into the contraction with the muscle, you're naturally getting stronger. The joint isn't as, what would you say, vulnerable. Okay. So the joint's not as vulnerable. And as the muscle gets tighter and strong and the strength curve changes, the band matches that. So let's say you had like a barbell curl and you had like 70 pounds on it. And from here, it would actually be the most. As you get to the top, there'd be a little less, and you got to squeeze and get that contraction. That's backwards of the strength curve. But by the time, so with that backwards strength, when you get up here and you can't quite finish that rep, you come down, you really can't get any more because it's the most at the bottom. You can't even finish this. So like with the band resistance, we can make it so you might have 40 here and 80, 90 here. You can even have more here because in your most vulnerable stretched position, you don't have to have as much. But coming out of here with like 70, let's say that's hard for somebody. And then, so we come out of here with 40, 50, we can actually have 80, 90, 100 at the top. So as the fibers start to fail, you get that max squeeze every time. You're not trying to force a contraction. The contraction's naturally happening because of the resistance getting greater. And then you try to hold that contraction each time and just take advantage of that, that time under tension into the contraction. So you got the time under tension element where normally the load is either the same or even a little less. So you're just moving the same load through time. And that might be good for causing the muscle to need to take on more fuel, but it's not really going to tell it to enlarge as far as the fibers go. Now, the pump factor. Pump, we all know, is important, and it lowers myostatin. Why? So I suppose if the muscle's stretching out that big, it's telling the body, well, we need to lift the ceiling because we got to let more blood in here for whatever this asshole's got to do to us every day. Then a drop set. So normally you couldn't get so many with, let's say, 70 pounds, you'd fail. Then you'd have to put the weight down. And as you're breathing and the blood is flowing through your muscles, you then you'd grab a lighter weight and do just a few reps with that. And then you'd have to drop that fucker and go grab a lighter weight. This way you never let up. You hit that wall, and then you hit a wall, and you hit a wall. So let's say you're contracting with, say, it's irrelevant, but it's just tension. Once you start using bands, you don't even give a fuck about poundage anymore because it's just up more tension. But let's say theoretically you're at 90 pounds, and then all of a sudden you're pulling as hard as you can, and now it's 86 pounds, 83 pounds, and you're trying to pull through every fucking ounce you got. Pretty soon you're down halfway. And you can hold that and hold it. What do you got? You got a static hold. And you got where a isometric hold, static hold, where it starts giving out. And you try to pump another couple until the point that you're just like, boo! And in that one set, you did a more effective time under tension, better pump, a drop set per se, an isometric and static hold all in one, right to the end. Every fiber is completely fucked. So that's where we can do one set every day and really see some great progress. And the more often you can train a muscle and it recovers, you can train it again, the faster it grows. All these guys, then with that constant stimulus, the androgen receptors are being sensitized more often in the muscle. You got a better hormonal output, fresh blood and everything through the muscle every day. The sets that you're doing are more productive than just doing 15 sets. And when you're doing massive amounts of sets and waiting too long, that's where the guys have to start using more and more drugs. Whereas with the higher frequency, higher stimulation, higher hormonal output more often, then that obviously isn't as needed anymore. So that's where I'm trying to come about with all the aspects of some of this is really, really great. All studies ever done on fatigue, muscle, this and that, they're almost all done on static resistance, just weight against gravity. And that's why certain things, the eccentric loading shows more, certain things this shows more. It's all irrelevant to where you're getting the most load and the least load, things like that. Like the lying tricep extension, all studies and everything say the middle range is where you hit, you get the most stimulus. Well, it's because you're, on a lying tricep extension, you're here to here is going to be the most. Here, there's nothing. And then here, you're coasting downhill. So it's like, a quarter of the way up to 3/4, that's it. It's right there. And then it's less. But if you had something that it's irrelevant to static load, and then you have the balance factor on top of it. Balance load, or the static load, you don't have that quite as much. But when it's free from gravity, it does whatever it wants, and you got to fight hard to get it there. But then the load just increases all the way to the end. And then, so that study is now fucking irrelevant, because now you have the greatest load at the end of the contraction. So a lot of people that say they go to school, exercise science, things like that, when you're taught this, that's what's in your head now, and that's really the only way you think. Somebody from a fresh new perspective can think outside the box and not be, not brainwashed per se, because that would be negative, because it obviously works, it's weight, but when you're put in that, your mindset is then now like drawn that way, and you think that way. Let's say you take somebody, don't expose them to any of that, and you just, hey, build something with these bands. They're going to come up with a whole new thing, and they're going to be like, yeah, but this works best, this works best. So there is a learning curve and things like that, and I think anybody can benefit from including a lot of this stuff in. And I'm seeing that in most cases for like bodybuilding, stimulus-wise, longevity-wise, all of it is pretty much, they're better for that. And, after 22 years of just weight training, it's kind of neat to be learning new things. And, it sucks that, the industry kind of has been behind the scenes on some of this stuff for so long. But anyway, I'm going to have some more videos to show like how everybody puts these stupid mathematical equations to stuff, and thinking that, adding a band to like a weight, for example, is just going to increase like kinetic energy for like, lifting a raw weight or something like that. And really, it's just more stimulus, better hormonal output. The muscle hypertrophy is bigger. It can lift more. If you were lifting a larger amount out of the hole halfway up there, and you did a larger amount at the end of the contraction, the middle ground, the middle rep's going to be the fucking same either way. So it's one muscle. It just can only lift so much through the full range. But when you have the max amount of tension at the end, it's going to save the joints. And then eventually you can go longer because your body can handle more resistance at that end than it can out of the hole, for example. And the joints aren't going to get as beat up, and you're going to be able to eventually use more tension than you were with just like raw weight. So I'm saying at least add some different, take a lot of that stuff into a factor when we're working out. It would help us greatly. I wish I'd have learned a lot of this stuff quite a while ago, but hey, I know it now, so that's awesome. Anyway, I'm gonna get the hell out of the gym, and I have to apologize for the Miller Lite shirt. It was $3 at Goodwill, and it's good to sweat in. So I really don't care for beer, but it's a good shirt to sweat in and get dirty. All right, having a good night. Bye.